Welcome to Next Level Play Therapy, a weekly podcast dedicated to supporting the next generation of child and adolescent therapists to provide exceptional play therapy services. We'll explore all things play therapy to elevate your work with children and adolescents using the therapeutic powers of play. I'll discuss practical tips and ideas so you can provide a transformative experience for your young clients and make a real difference in their lives. So get ready to take your play therapy skills to the next level and make a lasting impact in the lives of children, adolescents, and families. Hey there, welcome to this week's live episode where I talk about all things play therapy and expressive arts and how you can use play therapy and level up your play therapy skills. So this week I want to take a little bit of a change in my focus, which is really specifically focusing on adolescents and how you can help your adolescent clients engage in the change process at a much deeper level so that they can work through some of those painful emotions and experiences. One of the things I hear all the time is, how do I get my adolescents clients to talk? Or I hear this all the time as well, which is my client just sits there and won't talk. And I know they have things that are going on. Usually there's a lot of trauma. I know there's trauma they have to work through, but I can't get them to talk. They're guarded, defensive, shut down. They kind of slump in their chair and pull their hood over their head. I don't know if any of you had that experience with your adolescent clients whose parents or other professional foster parents have brought their adolescent children to your office so that you can help them because they feel at a loss how to help their child. So if you have ever had that experience, I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and post in the comments. Has that happened to you? I think it's happened to all of us. I'd love to know who's here. Post your name in the comments, where you're from, what population do you work with. Oftentimes when I talk about this topic, I often get people who may work with adolescents and they also work with adults. What I'm going to talk about today, I also have applied with adults that I've worked with. I use expressive arts with adults all the time, and especially when I'm helping them work through trauma or some other kind of painful attachment type wounds. So go ahead, post your name in the comments. Where are you from? What population do you work with? And let's get started. So I'm Cathi Spooner. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist supervisor here in the United States with over 30 years experience working with children, adolescents, and families. And I need to give a self-disclosure today. My husband's at work, so I left the door open to my office, which means my dogs are in the office with me. And Luna, big dog, she's not really big, she's medium size. And Lily, 16 pounds, so Luna's like way bigger than Lily. Anyway, Luna has decided that she must give warning to the neighbors because they have the audacity to be in her neighborhood and near her house. And she keeps hearing me say her name, so she's kind of hovering, which means because Luna is on alert and she is making sure these dastardly neighbors don't come anywhere near her house, you are likely to hear her barking. And since my husband's not here, there's no way for me to dash over there and make her be quiet. So if you hear kind of this rustling in the background with this weird moaning noise, it means my dogs are rolling around in the office on the carpet, dogs. Or you may hear Luna, protective Luna. Yes, Luna is very protective. Yes, I think that's you, Steph. Yep, Steph, she is very protective. Just pardon the dog noises today, and we will chat about one of my favorite topics today, which is using expressive arts. So there are some things, so I regularly hear from mental health professionals working with adolescents is, how do I get these adolescents to talk? They won't talk, they're shut down. Or I don't know about expressive arts. One of the reasons that's what I want to talk about today. What are some of those misconceptions about using expressive arts in the therapy process that are going to impede your ability to use this modality effectively and really connect and create that safe space for your adolescent clients? That was first and foremost, because in the second part is, how do you use expressive arts to help them engage in the change process? Because that's the whole point of the therapy process, right? Is to make a difference and help your adolescent clients heal. And I would say expressive arts, you can also use with adults. And I have found this to be really effective, using it with adults who've experienced a lot of attachment and trauma wounds. So let's see who's here today. We have Michelle, and Michelle's joining from LinkedIn. Hey there, Michelle. Working on therapy book for children. And that sounds interesting. I have a book too. It's Attachment Focused Family Play Therapy and Intervention for Children and Adolescents After Trauma. I would love to know what book. Post your book in the comments. I'd love to know which one you're working on. That's awesome. So good morning, Steph. Made it this week. I know, I thought you missed last week. No worries. Stuff to do with grownups. Yes, Steph, you can use some of this with your adolescent and your adult clients. Steph's also in my Play Therapy Academy, so we can talk more about that. I think we have talked about some of that in Play Therapy Academy meetings. And Michelle says, Lena and Lily. Yeah, Luna and Lily. Those are my dogs, my crazy dogs. All righty. Well, welcome. So first and foremost, there's some misconceptions that I have heard therapists talk about that really interfere with their ability to use expressive arts with clients. And so there's the three. I'm going to talk about three misconceptions today and dispel those misconceptions to use expressive art. So these are three things that'll get in your way if you don't identify these and make that shift with that. So Cathi Royer, hey Cathi, says hi, all welcome. So first and foremost, misconception number one, and this one comes up a lot. So the number one myth is, I have to be good at art. I have to be artistic and talented. And my experience has been, this one is really rooted in imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not going to be good enough. They're going to see I'm not good enough. They're going to see my art, or they're going to hear they're going to hear me sing. With kids, they don't really care, to be honest. And adolescents don't care either. Even adults don't care. It's not about being good enough artistically. That's what this is rooted in, being good enough. That's the imposter syndrome, being good enough. The reality is, it doesn't matter if you're artistic or musically inclined, or that you are trained in music or dance or art or writing. It's not about being an expert artistically. It's about using the creative process to help your clients engage those parts of their brain, engage that sense of self into the change process. And it can bypass those cognitive areas and help them process at a deeper level. And then later they can make sense of it cognitively if that's what they need to do, because sometimes they don't always need to. Sometimes the process in and of itself is the healing process. So tapping into that experience of creativity to express what words can't describe. Probably all heard that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If I can help my adolescent clients, if I can even help my adult clients to express through creative avenues, art, I don't do dance and movement. I think it's cool though. It's not something I'm very good at, meaning I don't know how to do it myself. And I haven't really taken any of the trainings to do it. I've done it in some trainings, but it's not necessarily something I'm totally comfortable with. That being said, it would be cool. So that'll be my future goal. Actually, I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I've heard stories about some powerful shifts that occur through the use of dance and movement. It's about movement, getting that whole body engaged differently to work through whatever is kind of trapped somatically in the body that words and intellect can't get to. Same with drama therapy. I've used kind of elements of that. It's not one that I use a lot. A play therapist, I would say that we use drama using puppets that way. But I worked in some of the residential treatments. We used kind of elements of drama therapy in groups and created some really amazing shifts for our clients. So it's more about the process than the actual skill level that you have. I draw stick people. I use art all the time. I cannot sing a tune. If I sing in the car, top of my lungs, nobody's around, am I ever going to make it on a stage to be music? No, I'm never going to be that way. It's about giving voice to an expression in a way that brings release and healing and it empowers that change process. I've used poetry since I was an adolescent to work through. I didn't even realize it, to be honest, until I took a training in poetry therapy. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And oh my gosh, I actually use this. So it's a way for self-expression. It's a way to access those therapeutic powers of play for healing. If you're using a play therapy model, accessing those therapeutic powers of play for healing, such as access to the unconscious, self-expression, some counter conditioning, creative problem solving, all of these therapeutic powers of play can be accessed through expressive modalities. So once you get past your imposter syndrome and you stop really caring about whether or not your artistic expression is going to get an A in class or you're going to be discovered by some art talent, then you will be able to access and use this really powerful modality. And here's the thing, your clients are experiencing the same thing. When you ask them to do something that they are not trained to do, or they know they're not like gifted in art, they're going to feel the same way. They're going to have that imposter syndrome come up. They're going to have all of those thoughts and emotions about how they were horrible in art class or music and can't sing a tune. They can't play an instrument. They can't do, and they don't know how to dance. Their coordination is horrendous. Those are all the thoughts, not necessarily that it is. Those are the thoughts that they're going to have. And so your ability to give permission not to be perfect, and it's not about the product, it's about the process. Your ability to do that with yourself gives permission for your clients to do that. So we have a comment. Oh, Michelle said, hi, Cathi. Oh, that's awesome. So the second misconception is expressive arts is too complicated. expressive arts is too complicated. So rooted in this is really, I find, rooted in the belief that you have to use an adult model to get your adolescent clients to talk. And you have to figure out how to use that art or use that music so you can get them to talk. And this is also grounded, kind of brings us back to misconception number one, which is not about the product, it's about the process. It's about understanding that using expressive modalities can bypass some of those the intellect and cognitive parts of our brain to access creativity for healing. And so being able to use expressive arts in a way that accesses those creative processes and bypasses the intellect can open up a whole way for your clients to process and explore painful emotions and experiences and stay within their window of tolerance in a way that is comfortable for them. So there's the thing that you can do when you're creating that sense of safety is using these expressive modalities can help you connect with your client's interests. Then it's about them, and it's not about how you can get them to talk. It's about connecting with them, sitting with them, learning about them, being present with them, and what is it that they're interested in. The vast majority of adolescents are definitely interested in music. So if I have a shut down, guarded, or defensive client, here's what that says to me. My client doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel safe to them, and this is not going to be helpful unless they feel safe. So what can I do to help them feel safe? Well, I can find out more about what's of interest to them. Usually, I start with music. Usually, I'll ask them. So every once in a while, there's an adolescent that doesn't like music. And so we have to explore what they do like. And I may be learning about things that I never thought I'd need to learn about before, like different games and different shows or different books or different things like that. Connecting with them. So let's say music, you can connect with your adolescent clients through music. You can ask them, what kind of music do you like? Do you have a favorite artist, a favorite group? And then we'll go through YouTube and I'll ask them, tell me a song. And then we'll listen to YouTube song and I'll have them pick it. And I don't mind some potty words. So if that works for sometimes a good potty word, a good curse word just is cathartic. So I don't mind those. So in my office, you can do almost anything you want to do, but you can say anything you want to say. I mean, you have to be careful about some things because you do have to talk about being a mandated reporter. So they can say anything, but it may set in motion some things. So, but when we're listening to their music and we're playing the YouTube video, here's what that gives me so much information. One, I'll ask them, what is it about that song that you really enjoy? I'll listen to the type of music it is, tells me a little bit about my client. They'll tell me, oh, they don't really like they don't listen to the words, they listen to the beat. Okay, well, there's something about that beat of the music that resonates with them. Maybe they do like the words. So I'll ask them, what do they like about the words? That gives me information. And here's the other thing. I consider music to be poetry to sound. If you listen to the musical lyrics, it's poetry. That's how I look at it. Poetry is self-expression. Music is self-expression. So it gives me a kind of a window into my client so that I get a sense of them and what's going on. It begins to open a door to build that rapport with them, to build that place of safety. And then from there, I can begin to use other types of expressive arts. But once you find what's interesting to them or what's meaningful to them, then you can build that rapport. Of course, you have to show up authentically. Like I show up, I'm nerdy, I laugh. Dad jokes are my favorite. Like dad jokes are the best. So I'll tell dad jokes, or I'll kind of make fun of myself because my clients may not, but that's how I show up genuinely to connect with them in a professional way. That's that therapeutic use of self. How do we show up in the therapeutic office in a professional way using expressive arts as an avenue and an inroad to help them process what's going on? First and foremost, to establish that sense of safety. Let's see, we have Cathi Royer says, amen. Yes, agreed. That's misconception number 2. It's not about getting your client to talk. That pressure will shut them down. Finding another way to connect and explore using expressive arts opens up so much possibilities, even with your guarded, defensive, and shut down clients. That's their way of saying to you, I don't feel safe. This doesn't feel safe. I don't know you. I don't want to do this. And mostly because it's too painful for me to tolerate. So creating that environment where that can happen using expressive arts gives you that ability to do that. And then using expressive arts, you can talk about it and process it, but first and foremost, you've got to access it. And you can't access it if they are not able to go there using intellect and cognition, which is what talk therapy is. I got to be able to cognitively tell you what's going on, and I may not be able to. So is misconception number 2. I don't know if you guys can hear Luna. She's digging. Yep. She's digging in the background. But at least she's not barking at the neighbors. So that's good. That just irritates my neighbors. So a couple of neighbors are cool about it, but I got a couple who are not. So it is what it is. All right. Misconception number 3 is expressive arts is too complicated. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't want to use it. It's too hard. It's too uncomfortable. And rooted in that is really not having good training to help you know how to use expressive arts confidently. In play therapy, we use the therapeutic powers of play. That is the change agent that sets play therapy apart from other expressive arts modalities. An art therapist is going to be trained in healing ways of using art based on some theoretical models. A drama therapist is going to be trained in how to use drama therapy based on theoretical models. In play therapy, which is also an expressive arts modality, in play therapy, we access the therapeutic powers of play for healing based on a theoretical model, and that within the context of therapeutic relationship. So as a play therapist, I use expressive arts as a way to access those therapeutic powers of play using a theoretical model. And when I'm working with adolescents and even adults, the theoretical model, the framework that I am going to be using is really grounded in neuroscience and attachment. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a course that I have. It's an online self-paced course. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, how you can use expressive arts to help your adolescent, and I would say even adult clients, heal using expressive modalities. But it isn't complicated when you have a framework. I always look at my theoretical framework as like my GPS. It's going to guide me through the change process. And that training is going to help you know how to access the therapeutic powers of play or the therapeutic components of how to use expressive arts. And the expressive arts that I predominantly use are art. You can see my sand tray miniatures in the background. So I use sand tray. I'll use music. I'll use poetry and writing. I don't use as much drama and dance and music. I actually would like to really learn how to use drama more. I found that to be really, really powerful in a group modality when we did a lot of that in our residential treatment program. And in the treatment program, there was a therapist that used dance and movement, actually both places where I worked, and they had phenomenal results with dance and music. So the thing is, this requires training. It also requires some supervision, consultation to help you know how to use it effectively. So once you get that grounding, it's really not that complicated because you have a way to understand it and a way to help your clients process it and a way to therapeutically hold that in the change process. So that is it for today. Let me just do a quick recap. First and foremost, misconception number one, you have to be a skilled artist of some kind with high artistic ability, and you do not. I draw stick people. I cannot sing a tune. I can bang out on a drum, and I will never be in a concert hall. No one will ever pay to hear me do this. It's not about the product. It's about the process. It's about helping your clients access those therapeutic, in my mind, as a play therapist, I'll say those therapeutic powers of play for healing with your client. It's a way to access those therapeutic aspects of creativity. Misconception number two is I have to get my clients to talk. Like, I'm going to use art so I can get my clients to talk, or I'm going to use music so I can get my clients to talk. It's backwards. I'm going to use art. I'm going to use music to help my clients process, to make sense of, to express, to explore. And if they end up talking about it, great. If they don't, and as long as they've gotten what they need out of it, then it has served its purpose. We don't necessarily, I can look at art sometimes without my client even saying something, because sometimes they won't say anything. I have adolescents who don't say anything, but I look at their art and in my mind, oh, okay, enough said. Totally get it. I know where you are. Sometimes that takes and by then I've had a few sessions, so I get a sense of what's going on anyway. We're never looking at one thing and saying, oh, this explains everything. It's a process, and they don't necessarily have to explain it to us. They don't have to articulate it and have words to express it in order for it to do its job. We use that creative process to give voice to the process, and out of that, they make sense of it. Sometimes traditional talk therapy works great and they don't necessarily need anything. In my experience, a lot of times, expressive arts does provide a better way for them to be able to go deeper and explore deeper and make sense of what's going on in their lives. So misconception number three is that it's too complicated. I can't do it. It's too hard. It'll never work. And that's really rooted in not having training to be able to know how to use it. Your training and your theoretical framework are going to be like your GPS to help guide you through the process and know how to make sense of what's going on. And so being able to get some training and some consultation, if you haven't gone in your master's program, done an art therapy program, or if you haven't done drama therapy, for example, or you're not gifted and taking a music major in college, if you want to know how to access the therapeutic aspects of expressive arts, then there is good training out there that's going to support how you make sense of what's going on in your clients, with your clients, and how do you help them? How do you use that process to help them heal? So that is it for today. All right. I will see you guys next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Next Level Play Therapy. I hope you found the discussion valuable and gained new insights and ideas to support your work helping children, adolescents, and families heal. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps to improve and reach more people who can benefit from this information. Remember, play therapy is a powerful tool for healing and growth. Whether you're a new play therapist or experienced, I encourage you to continue your learning journey to unlock the potential of play in your own work and relationships. If you have any questions or topic suggestions for future episodes, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on social media and visit my website at Renewing Hearts Play Therapy Training to stay updated on upcoming episodes, trainings, and resources. Thank you once again for listening to Next Level Play Therapy. Until next time, keep playing, learning, and growing.